So I'm Josh Kearns. I'm an environmental chemist and engineer. And for about 15 years, I've worked with communities mostly in Southeast Asia, but also some now in Latin America on low-cost water treatment, small-scale, decentralized household and community water treatment systems, in particular focusing on the chemical aspects of water quality and treating water to remove toxic chemicals. So what I'm doing here is a miniature version of the water treatment system that uses bone char to remove fluoride from the water. So I brought some bone char. Can you see this? This is what it looks like. Just small black granules of the charcoal made from bones from the cow. And this is the material that's inside the full-size treatment system. And the full-size treatment system will look something like this, where you have a large column that's, maybe half a meter or a meter, something like that, full of bone char. So a system like this could serve several households or a small village, and it would produce, hundreds of liters of water per day, and it would be in operation for months or a year or longer before you have to replace the char. It'd be a long time. So if you want to do a study on something this big, it takes a long time and it uses a ton of materials. The idea is, can we shrink this down smaller and do a small scale study that takes only a fraction of the time of operating a big column like that. So that's what this small column is. This is bone char that's been crushed up smaller and put into a small column, and I'm just using this pump to pump. This is water from the well out at Caminos land that is contaminated with fluoride. And I'm doing a study. I'm just collecting the water as it comes out, and every so often test the water. And I can basically use this small study, which will take about 1 week to operate this column, and I can predict, 6 months or 1 year or something like that of operation of a big column like that from a small scale experiment. So it's nice because it takes less time. It only uses a small amount of water to do the study. It costs less money. You can do the study much faster. And so the advantages of being able to do a quick study is I could say, all right, well, this is just plain bone char. There's nothing special about it. What if we enhance it? What if we treat it chemically, or we fire it multiple times, or do some other process to improve its properties for absorption, and then run an experiment on that? We can do a different kind of treatment and run an experiment on that, and you can do a lot more experiments in a short time that way and come up with information about how this removes the fluoride that's directly related to how the real world system will work. So that's the idea behind this experiment. one of the goals for the past few years has been to come up with some different methods that can be used in the laboratory to simulate actual treatment systems out there, whether they're small household systems or community systems or like the pilot system at the land. But those are all full-size systems operating, serving communities. But there are a lot of different water quality challenges. There are a lot of different sorbents and materials that we can use. There are a lot of different pollutants that we need to track and things like that. And so there's been this interest to develop laboratory methods to do experiments on a smaller scale in a shorter amount of time that, that save money and save time and resources and labor, but give you information that's reliable for predicting how real world systems are actually functioning. And the idea is that it's not like every single system out there has to be intensively monitored and adjusted all the time. It's like, okay, based on all the research, we know if you have water that is in this range of parameters and you have a treatment system that operates in this range of parameters, we're confident that you can operate it and that the water will be it'll have the levels that it's supposed to have. Yeah. So you just know based on how you operate the system. But all the research has been done behind that, so that you don't have to monitor everything all the time, because that would be impossible. Yeah. So one of the goals for this trip was I have been for a while, and with other folks working on a way for testing the bone char for removing fluoride under different circumstances. And so part of the trip was to just make more advancements on that method and to be able to develop some tools, mathematical tools and computational tools and things like that will allow the tech team, if they go to a new community or if the community switches water sources or something changes, and they're like, okay, what do we need to know about treating this water? So that, how much water can we treat per day? How long do we have to go between the times that we take the adsorbent and replace it or regenerate it or whatever? How do we operate the system? What new contaminants might be coming in and things like that. So mostly I'm just working on tools they can use in the lab. Okay. To simulate what's happening out there in the world.